So, what's up people and welcome to the chapter 90 discussion of Kaiju number 8 or Kaiju8号. So chapter 90 came out a few days ago, and as always I will leave a link to this chapter that's currently being shown on the publisher's official website, Manga Plus, for free to the North American audience. So if you're interested, yeah, I will go take a look at it before they pull this chapter back. Okay, so chapter 90. Yeah, I actually enjoyed chapter 90 quite a bit. There wasn't really any major surprises in the chapter, with the exception of what happens at the very end. Once again, there is a cliffhanger. But overall, this was a really well done chapter. And one of the things I really liked about this chapter is something very small. It comes out in the very beginning of the chapter, and we get to know what Commander Hoshina's first name is, which is Soshiro. So his name is Soshiro Hoshina. And so from now on, if other members of the Hoshina clan comes out, I could actually go by his first name. Now, probably this was shown somewhere early on when they introduced the character, but I don't remember it. Unfortunately, I apologize for that, and it's never really been brought out ever since. So it was really nice to see his first name once again. But if you recall, this isn't about naming, this is about battle. And in chapter 89, we saw at the very end of the chapter, Commander Hoshina, or Soshiro, finally getting an advantage and injuring monster number 12 using the techniques that he gained from his family. The old martial arts that was passed down in his house. And if you recall in chapter 89, because he was a younger brother to a very, very capable older brother, he never really brought this martial arts out. Dual blading, which is what his signature technique usually is not a martial arts practice by the Hoshina house. The Hoshina house uses a single blade technique, and it is that technique that is used at the very end of chapter 89 that actually injures monster number 12. So in chapter 90, this continues, and we see that it wasn't a fluke. And yeah, Hoshina really gets a major upper hand in this battle, and he starts slicing and dicing monster number 12 really well. Now, one of monster number 12's abilities is to be able to recover from injury really quickly. So despite all of this slicing and dicing, monster number 12 continues to recover back, but that doesn't hold back Hoshina from being able to take him out, and he continues to attack with some very devastating attacks using the moves that were always there from his household. And there's one particular attack where he hits him in the chest, and typically the monsters keep their cores in their chest. But it turns out that monster number 12 did not, most likely because he knew that he was going up against Hoshina. Hoshina knew where the monster cores were, so he put it somewhere else. And so this makes it more difficult for Commander Hoshina, but it doesn't really matter, and Hoshina actually mentions that. If you are hiding your core, all I have to do is keep on slicing and dicing you continuously until your core appears. And so a good majority of this chapter is now focused on that battle where Commander Hoshina is constantly slicing away monster number 12. And eventually, through his successive attacks, he is able to find out where the core is, which is hidden in monster 12's neck. And so he goes to try to attack it, and at that point, he gets countered by monster 12. And so it seems like monster 12 is able to start defending from Hoshina's attack. Now this of course doesn't stop Hoshina, and he actually raises it a level by combining his various attacks into combinations, and that continues to take on monster number 12 successfully. And it is in this chapter that we do realize why Hoshina is so successful with his family's martial arts. As we found out in chapter 89, He was using his dual blade arts because he felt insecure compared to his brother, and so he started utilizing a new martial arts rather than to try to use his household's martial arts and remain in the shadows of his brother. But what we find out in chapter 90, as we all kind of expected, was that in the back, secretly, he was always constantly working on his family's martial arts. And in fact, most likely, he practiced so hard that he might have become better at his family's martial arts than the dual-bladed art that he had. The only reason he didn't bring it out was his continued insecurity. No matter how hard he tried and how much he mastered the art, he felt that he could never succeed his brother. But in this particular chapter, it doesn't matter. He's not trying to compete and win against his brother. He is in a life and death situation against monster number 12. And regardless of how he is rated compared to his brother, it doesn't matter. All he needs to do is to defeat monster number 12. And this really puts a nice perspective on this particular chapter. Yes, it was kind of expected, but the way it was brought out was really, really good. And so he continues his barrage, and eventually it gets to the point where he does gain access to the monster core. And right at that point, when he's trying to bring in the final blow, the story goes in a very interesting twist, and monster number 12 counters using the same martial arts that Commander Hoshina has been using up till now. And what this indicates is that one of monster number 12's powers is to be able to effectively copy somebody else's moves. So if you think about it, maybe he is the Kakashi of the monster world, right? And we see a very surprised Hoshina being pummeled down by monster number 12, which of course is the twist at the very end that I didn't expect. And it opens up a cliffhanger for the next chapter. And so, yeah, I mean, this opens up an interesting position. Chapter 89 was mostly about monster number 12 dominating the fight. Chapter 90 is about Hoshina dominating the fight once he brought his family's martial arts in. And we see that at the end of chapter 90, this turns around again. So there needs to be something that can overcome monster number 12's newfound powers of being able to copy Hoshina's martial arts. And of course, if you remember, one of the problems monster number 10 and Hoshina had was their incapability to go beyond level 83 in their synergy. And so what I feel is that if there is anything that's going to overcome monster number 12's newfound powers, it is this synergy. And if there's anything I would like to see, it would be really nice to see a backstory about monster number 10 for a change, rather than to see the backstories of the JDF soldiers. It would be interesting to see a backstory about one of the monsters. And why monster number 10 will be the most appropriate is because he is the most well-represented monster out of all of them in the series so far, with the exception of course, monster number 9 and Kafka. Monster number 10 seems to have this kind of Venom type relationship with Hoshina. And so it will be interesting to see. If there is a chance to see his backstory, I would like to see it. And if there is any possibility of seeing that, I will feel that maybe chapter 91 will be the one chance where we get to do so. But whatever the case, I do feel that they are going to break that 83% synergy. And that will be the way Hoshina ends this battle with monster number 12. But we won't know about it until the next chapter comes out. And once it does, I'll bring out another video. I hope you join me at that time. But this is the chapter 90 discussion for Kaiju 8号. If you read it, what'd you think about it? Any comments will be greatly appreciated. And until the next episode, happy manga reading. And as always, Jaya, nice day everyone.